Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode with psychologist Anu Goyal ma'am. Hello ma'am.
Hello.
It's great to have you again. So today's conversation is all about self-love talks. We will discuss about the topics of loving yourself and why it is important to love yourself. So ma'am, let's start with the basics. Why is loving yourself so essential?
Absolutely. Self-love is very important. It is like the oxygen mask on a plane. You have to put it on yourself first and then only you can help others. It is essential because it forms the foundation of our well-being and ourselves. To cultivate self-love, it's very important that we have our own pressures and we take care of ourselves in every way to feel better. It's like setting boundaries and being compassionate towards oneself. Self-care involves nourishing one's emotional and physical self and mental self, while self-improvement focuses on personal growth and development. Finding harmony between the two means understanding that self-care is about nurturing oneself and ourselves, with self-improvement is about embracing our potential. Most of us do not love ourselves but expect other people to love us. If I don't love myself, how can I expect someone else to love me and take care of me?
What great initial words ma'am. So in the world filled with external pressure, how can an individual cultivate self-love?
Self-love is a cornerstone of healthy relationships. When we love and accept ourselves, we can set healthy boundaries, communicate effectively, and show up authenticity in our relationship. This is most important for respect, mutual respect, trust, and intimacy. Additionally, self-love allows us to give and receive love more freely, as we are not seeking validation or approval from others to feel worthy. So when we approve of our own self and we love ourselves, we automatically accept other people the way they are, and other people accept us the way we are.
Great. Ma'am, we all know that self-care and self-improvement are the most important elements for self-love. So how can an individual find harmony between these two?
For self-care, one needs to take care of oneself emotionally and mentally and physically. And to improve oneself, one should first take care and know how much has to be improved. If I'm not taking care only, how will I know what has to be improved? So it's important I know first and then I start making improvement towards it and find a balance between the two.
Those are great tips, ma'am. Many of us struggle with self-criticism. How can one overcome that and develop more positive self-image?
Overcoming self-criticism begins with practicing self-awareness and self-compassion. Instead of always putting yourself down and finding faults in oneself, what is important is we learn from our faults. It's very human to make mistakes. There's nothing wrong in making mistakes. But what is important is, once I make a mistake, I learn from it and I move forward and don't do it again. So be kind to oneself and understand oneself. It is important to challenge negative thoughts and replace them with affirmations which are positive, and have gratitude towards everything what you achieve is appropriate and right for you. When you thank and have grateful in small ways, it will help you to achieve things better. Surrounding yourself with supportive and uplifting people can also help shift one's perspective towards a more positive self-image. So it's important that we have our own self-image positive. If my self-image in my own eyes is not positive, other people are definitely going to be critical about you. And then you cannot say, why are they critical? Because you're letting them be critical because you yourself are critical about yourself.
What a great advice, ma'am. Final words. In a world that constantly pushes us for external validation, how can one foster internal validation and accept them as they are and love yourself?
Internal validation comes from within, as it is rooted in self-awareness, self-compassion, and self-acceptance. It involves tuning into your own needs, values, and desires, rather than seeking validation from external source. Practicing mindfulness and self-reflection can help us connect with our inner selves and cultivate a deeper sense of self-worth. Embracing our imperfections and celebrating our uniqueness allows us to love ourselves unconditionally. What tends to happen with most of us, we go into comparison and keep thinking what the other person is doing, which is right, and keep putting ourselves down, assuming that whatever we are doing is wrong. Instead of that, accept yourself the way you are and love yourself and change what is changeable and let it be what is not changeable and not get upset with your own self.
Absolutely, ma'am. Lastly, what advice would you like to give to our listeners on their journey to self-love?
My advice to listeners on their journey to self-love would be to be patient and gentle with themselves. It is a process that comes with time and it takes time, but it's worth it. Surround yourself with positive people. Practice self-care regularly and remember that you're worthy of love and respect, just as the way you are. Anybody who's being very negative towards you or very critical, you need to remove them from your life as soon as possible to feel better and to move better in your life.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, ma'am, for having this insight conversation about loving ourselves. And to our listeners, remember you are worthy for your own love. Until next time, this is Self Love Talks. Thank you. Stay tuned.